Hey everybody, what's up? It's Ashlyn here. Oh my goodness, I look like a hot mess. First of all, wearing the shirt my mom got me. Never underestimate a girl who loves books, has tattoos, and was born in December. I love it. It's so comfy. But we're gonna go ahead and hop back into Follow Me Back by A.B. Geiger. By the way, I got my nails done again. They kind of match my book. It's kind of cool. Alright, so where we left off abruptly is because I had a unexpected visitor and very interesting. What are you two doing? And remember, we gotta love my bookmark. Let's give some love to my bookmark. This is from Hitching the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox. He never saw her coming, but she might be worth the risk. We are going to be end up doing a romance novel on here at some point, but I'm definitely gonna have to figure that one out. And if you see my butt, I actually have shorts on. So, alright, let's get started, you guys. Let's get comfy, let's get relaxed. If you see a little bit of a change in the scenery, that's because it did change just a tad bit. Not much. You guys don't usually see behind me, so. Anyway, we left off on page 164, but we're going to backtrack a little bit. So we will go back to page 162 when the dialogue starts after the first two paragraphs. So but he couldn't deactivate now, not when he finally had her talking again. Taylor, so are you going to tell me how I ruined your life or what? Scott, what about Scott? I fell asleep to the sound of your voice whispering to me. What does that mean? I thought you were such a huge fan. I know it's a line from Aloe Vera. What does it have to do with Scott? We lingered on your terrace. I drank up all your wine. Is this a test? You tell me. What's the next line? By the way, Serenity says hi. She came to join us, I guess. She's been very actively weird lately. Eric let out a growl of irritation. Honestly, Tessa, if she'd had the faintest clue who she was talking to. You said, baby, take your clothes off. Get rid of those tan lines. No, you said, baby, take your clothes off. Isn't that what I just wrote? I believe your exact words were, take it all off, baby. Scroll up. Our last conversation. What? That thing? I was talking about feet. Scott didn't find that very amusing for some reason. What happened? I fell asleep to the sound of your voice whispering to me. What's the next line? But you left me there to blister, ran off with the only key. Exactly. I got burned. I was depressed. I fell asleep and Scott found my phone. He broke up with you? Let's just say he wasn't very pleased that I'd been flirting for the past month with some guy I met on Twitter. Sorry, that's my 12:15 alarm. Shit, Tessa. Yep, I believe his exact words were, I'm killing myself playing the dutiful boyfriend over here and you're off sexting some loser. Sexting? How are we sexting? Come on, tweet a nude, I'll do it if you do. It was a picture of your bunny slippers. He's never heard of sarcasm? I don't think he actually looked at the picture. Well, it sounds like you two just need to talk. I'm sure if you explain, he won't return my calls, Taylor. He just said that thing about sexting and left? No, I think he threw my phone at me and called me a cheating hoe bag first. Eric squinted at his phone, trying to picture the scene. Something about it stirred a memory, and he let out a muffled gasp when he realized what it was. Wait a minute. I know what happened. I just told you what happened. No. Hold on a sec. He'd read it a month ago now, almost an exact description of Scott's behavior. Of course. It was the first night he and Tessa started talking. He navigated over to Wikipedia and pulled up the entry for projection. There it was, in the section on practical examples. Bullying, blaming the victim, justifying infidelity. Bingo. Eric took a screenshot and added the image to the DM conversation. Justifying infidelity. The cheating partner may project his own unfaithful thoughts or actions onto the innocent partner in order to justify his infidelity and assuage his own sense of guilt. What is this? It's projection. Maybe Scott jumped to sexting because he's been doing a little sexting of his own. No, no way. Tessa, he's been distant with you for a while now. He's busy with school. Busy my ass. I'm busy too. I still find time to talk to you. Eric's fingers clamped down hard on his phone. It boggled his mind how anyone could treat a girlfriend that way, especially under the circumstances. Tessa needed someone desperately right now. She'd obviously been through some kind of trauma. Her boyfriend should have been first in line to offer her support. No fucking shit, guys. I got rid of this guy because, I was going through a really rough time with my brother's 1-year anniversary coming up, and then I'm going to be going through another rough time. I'm starting to slowly go into the rough time because January 14th is when we found out that his body was found, and that's coming up soon. And I've just been having a really emotional time with it because, you always remember these things, and it sucks because that date is always going to be those 2 dates, December 20th and January 14th. The day he went missing, the day he was found deceased. It's always going to be the hardest thing in the world for me and my family, and the holidays are going to be any easier. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But yeah, you need to have somebody in your corner, not fighting you. You need to have support. So, anyway, he was always texting someone. God, I can't believe I didn't think of that. Well, we can't all be as sensitive and insightful as I am. Spare me. You never even heard a projection before you started talking to me. This is true. This is why I need you to keep talking. The conversation paused then, and Eric leaned his head against the headboard of the bed. He could sense her indecision despite the sharpness of her tone. She needed someone, and they both knew it. And the thing was, Eric needed her too. The past few sleepless nights had made all too clear. He'd been coming apart at the seams without her calming influence. I don't know. I just want to talk. I swear. There's nothing sinister. You help me deal with my shit. I help you deal with your shit. I have to think about it. Tessa, please. Who else do you have to talk to now? My therapist? But you can't keep up with all your Eric Thorne references. Are you sure you can? Come on and ease the sunburn, baby. Take away my pain. Such a fanboy. See, we speak the same language. I don't know. If I do decide to talk to you again, I need you to promise me something. Anything. No more surprises, okay? I don't do well with surprises. Promise me right now there's nothing else I need to know. Eric sucked in his breath between his teeth. No more surprises. Of all the things she could have asked. But what could he say? He couldn't refuse. She'd just get spooked and unfollow him again, and he could help her. It couldn't be wrong if he only meant to help her. Anyway, she didn't need to know because she would never find out the truth. Never. Over his dead body. With a result nod, he sent back his reply. Nothing else you need to know. I promise. Dude, she gave you an opening to tell the truth, but I guess when you're a famous celebrity band member, singer, whatever he is, and she's a fangirl, I wouldn't believe it if I was talking to a famous person. I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever, you're fucking crazy, I'm just gonna go. Especially when they go to the extent of using a fake account. That's just interesting. Alright, we're at the interrogation fragment 5. Give me 1 second. I need coffee. Okay. December 31st, 2016, 8:42 p.m. Case number 124.678.21-001. Official transcription of police interview. Start page 6. Investigator. Mr. Thorne, are you familiar with the term catfish? Oh, come on. It's a yes or no question. Yes, I'm obviously familiar with the term. Would you care to define it for us, for the record? No. No? It was a yes or no question, right? That's cute, Eric. What do you think, Terry? You think he's getting cute with us? I wasn't trying to be cute. I'm just not in the mood for some stupid questions. You know, Terry and I could do this all night. So if you just want to sit around and insult our intelligence. No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just a little thrown right now. There are other things I would prefer to be doing. I'm sure you understand. So could we please just cut to the chase? And what other things would you prefer to be doing, Eric? Well, I'd like to speak to Tessa for one thing. You care about her. Of course. And she cares about you? Yes. That's sweet. Isn't that sweet, Terry? Really heartwarming. You ever write a song about her, Eric? What does that have to do with anything? Oh, I'm just curious. I've got a niece. She's about 15 years old. Huge fan of yours. I'd be happy to sign an autograph for her. Now, that's not necessary. Just answer the question if you don't mind. What was the question? Did you ever write a song about Tessa Hart? Really? I have to answer that? You just put out a new single, right? What was that one called? Snowflake. That's it? Snowflake? Pretty song. Did you write that song about Tessa? I really don't talk about the meanings behind my song lyrics. Don't you? I got the sense that you and Tessa talk quite a bit about the meanings behind your song lyrics. That's different. How so? I talk to her about things that I can't tell other people, personal things. She's the only person I could talk to about a lot of stuff. Because those conversations took place within the context of a private correspondence, a private relationship, you might say. Right. Ooh, this is not looking good for you, dude. And there was one other way it was different too, wasn't there? What do you mean? I mean, she didn't know it was you, right? She thought she was talking about your song lyrics with somebody named Taylor. Right, exactly. To lure someone into a relationship by means of a fictional online persona. Sorry, what? That was a quote, actually. Let the record show that my previous statement was a quote from the Oxford English Dictionary, 3rd edition. That was the second definition of the verb catfish. Did you know they put it in the dictionary? It wasn't like that. Okay, Eric, you want to cut to the chase? Let's cut to the chase. Did you or have you ever lured someone into a relationship by means of a fictional online persona? That's a crappy definition. The Oxford English Dictionary? It wasn't catfishing. It wasn't like on the MTV show. That's the defense you want to go with? It wasn't like on the MTV show? Come on, you know what I mean. I'll admit, I'm not totally up to date with MTV's programming. Well, maybe you should ask your niece. Oh! Okay. Maybe, but then again, my niece isn't involved in a criminal investigation into false impersonation, fraud, unlawful surveillance, and stalking. Whoa. So why don't you just go ahead and spell it out for us, Eric? How would you define catfishing? I didn't do anything illegal, but you did, in fact, lure Tessa Hart into a relationship by means of a fictional online persona, correct? You have to understand the position I was in. What position was that? She was my fan. She practically worshipped me. Catfishing is when you set up a fake profile to make yourself into someone more attractive. That's the opposite of what I did. So you set up a fake profile to make yourself less attractive? No, it wasn't about being attractive. It was about being anonymous. It was the only way I could be myself. By pretending to be someone else. By willfully misleading someone about your true identity. Look, I'm not the villain here. I know how it must seem, but you have to understand that I started talking to Tessa in, August? It didn't change all at once. It snuck up on me. On both of us. I didn't even realize where it was heading until about a month ago. Almost Christmas time. And what exactly changed for you a month ago? I never meant for it to go the way it did. I swear. I just wanted to talk to someone. I didn't mean to fall in love. Oh, we fell in love. How cute. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna move this because okay. Move you guys up because that's starting to hurt my back. Sorry guys, I do a lot of position changing because of my hip bursitis. Okay. We are on chapter 16 and it's called White Christmas. Oh, excuse me. Oh, why do I have a screw? That's weird. Okay. December 3rd, 2016. Okay, Tessa. Last week you planned to accompany your mother on a brief outing to pick out a Christmas tree. How did that go? Tessa idly traced the pattern on her bedspread with her thumb as she paused to gather her thoughts. Her therapist sat across from her in a folding metal chair. Dr. Reagan had given up on the beanbag somewhere around month 4 of therapy after it burst beneath her weight in a cascade of flying beads. Tessa could feel Dr. Reagan studying her as Tessa's own eyes wandered around the room. She'd strung a string of Christmas lights across the footboard of her bed and then cast her therapist's face in a glow, pale green and red. Tessa's mother had taken the lights out of storage to decorate the tree, but it looked like the Christmas tree might not happen this year after all. Tessa hadn't even made it past the driveway when they went to pick it out. Her mom had left the car idling outside, and everything went smoothly until Tessa slid into the passenger seat. She turned toward her mother with a triumphant smile, only to be blinded by a camera flash. "Tessa," Dr. Reagan prompted. "Yeah, I kind of bailed." Tessa fiddled with the loose button on her cardigan. "What happened?" Tessa couldn't even explain it to herself, much less to her therapist. Maybe if her mom had warned her, instead of trying for a candid shot. At least she managed not to vomit in the car before she evaded the passenger seat and went scurrying back into the house. Dr. Reagan asked her something else, something about her mother. Tessa didn't quite hear the question. She jiggled her foot impatiently, counting the minutes until the session came to an end. She'd agreed to switch her weekly hour with Dr. Reagan to an evening time slot, but she regretted it now. She forgot that she had a date with her TV tonight. Eric Thorne was slated to give a live performance at 8 p.m. Tessa had her DVR set to record it, but she couldn't bear the thought that she might not get to watch him in real time. "Tessa, did you hear me? Sorry, what did you say?" Dr. Reagan had her head bent forward, leafing through the pages of Tessa's thought journal. "In your entry this week, I see you saying that you feel judged by your mother. Could you tell me more about that?" Tessa heaved a sigh. She hardly saw the point of hashing it all out again. Her mother had stomped all over the house after the incident in the driveway. She didn't even try to understand what Tessa might be going through. "Honestly, what's the point?" Tessa said in a dull voice. "As far as my mom's concerned, I'm the worst thing that ever happened to her. I ruined her life from the moment I was conceived." Dr. Reagan's face remained expressionless, but she made a careful notation on her pad. "Have you told your mother any details about last June?" Tessa shook her head. "She would only blame me. She'd say I must have done something to bring it on myself. I must have let him." She broke off and clapped a hand across her mouth. Dr. Reagan raised an eyebrow. "Go on, Tessa. What exactly would your mother say you brought on yourself?" "What? No, nothing. I just meant that she blames me for everything. That's all." She held her breath, hoping that Dr. Reagan wouldn't press her further. It would only trigger a flashback. But Tessa didn't have time for a panic episode. Not tonight. Dr. Reagan removed her reading glasses and left them dangling on the chain around her neck. "And how does that make you feel?" Tessa didn't answer. Some questions were safer to ignore. She darted a surreptitious glance at the phone that sat beside her on the bed, and she scowled to herself as the screen lit up. Already 7:45. "Tessa?" "Huh? Sorry." Her therapist smiled tightly. She moved to put her notepad back in her briefcase. "You seem a bit distracted. Perhaps we should pick up here next week?" Tessa nodded. With a tiny sliver of guilt, she stood to walk her therapist to the door. She knew she'd wasted Dr. Reagan's time tonight, but she couldn't help it. She'd spent the whole day preoccupied with the same thoughts circling around and around inside her head. Would Taylor be online tonight? Would he get off work in time to watch the broadcast with her? Maybe she could convince him to live chat. Eric fished in his pocket, groping for his phone. He only had a few minutes to hide out in his dressing room before he headed back on set, just long enough to respond to Tessa's latest DM. He flicked to open Twitter, and he frowned. The damn thing kept signing out of his account lately. It started acting up after the latest software update. Although the glitch only seemed to affect his second username, every time he shut down, he had to re-enter his password to log back in. He didn't have time to worry about it now. He quickly filled out the information. Username @EricThorne6, password. Then he navigated over to the message thread. Tessa H. "Taylor, are you there?" "Yeah, I thought you had therapy." "Just finished. The show starts in 15 minutes. Are you watching?" "Can't do it, sweet pea. Gotta work." Eric knew he needed to wrap the conversation up. He was performing tonight on live network TV, one of those star-studded December Christmas specials, complete with Santa hats and mistletoe. Eric was supposed to spend the final moments before airtime running through the lyrics of his solo, White Christmas, but his attention kept getting sucked back into Twitter. "Seriously, you can't take a break for 1 hour, not even for Eric Thorne?" "I wish I could, Tessa, but it has nothing to do with Eric Thorne." "Who? Ariana Grande? Since when was I an Arianator?" "I'm just guessing. You're a guy. She's probably your type." Eric's Snickered. Where did Tessa come up with this stuff? His type? The truth was, he and Ariana were slated to perform back to back that night. He'd been passing by her dressing room all afternoon, but he hadn't even bothered to poke his head in. What made Tessa think that he had any interest? Wait a minute. One corner of his mouth hitched upward as he texted back. Is that a hint, Tessa? Are you secretly an Ariana Grande lookalike? Yep, currently lounging in my thigh-high stiletto boots. I can send you another foot selfie if you like. Feel free, but I might need to see an entire leg this time. Eric had yet to see a picture of her. He didn't want to push his luck after the fiasco with the feet, but they'd been dancing around the topic more and more lately. He could tell he was slowly gaining her trust. It was only a matter of time before she sent him a selfie, and he couldn't pretend he wasn't dying to see. Legs? What legs? I thought I was green and spherical. Then where do you put the boots? Okay, fine, you got me. I have legs, 2 of them. Interesting. Anything else you care to tell me about these legs? Nice legs, not gonna lie. Yeah, I had a feeling. You should really stay online, Taylor. Who knows what other body parts I might mention in the next hour. Eric covered his mouth with the back of his hands to wipe away the sly grin. She had no idea how much he wanted to stay and chat. That had to be the most flirtatious thing she'd ever said to him. Damn it, why did tonight's show have to be a live broadcast? Oh man, you're killing me. Stay. I can't. I'm late. I gotta run. I'll catch you later, okay? With that, Eric glanced up at the lighted mirror to check if he'd smudged his makeup. He nearly fell over at what he saw reflected in the glass. His manager leaned against the half-open dressing room door with his feet crossed at the ankles and his hands stuffed in his trouser pockets. Mari cleared his throat as their eyes met in the mirror. Sometime today, perhaps? Sorry. Eric swiveled to avert his face. He slipped his phone into his back pocket and turned to leave the room, but Mari stood quiet, squarely in the doorway. No problem, buckaroo. You want to let me in on who the lucky lady is? Mari tilted his head in the direction of the phone, and Eric stopped in his tracks. How long had his manager been standing there? What lady? Eric replied, striving to keep his voice light. What are you talking about? Eric, you spent the past 10 minutes giggling like a schoolgirl at your phone. Mari pulled down a sprig of mistletoe from above the door and tossed it in Eric's direction. You know, you're supposed to disclose if you have a new girlfriend, right? The publicists appreciate a heads up. The mistletoe landed at Eric's feet, but he ignored it. Apparently his manager was spying on him now. Good to know exactly where he stood. At least Mari hadn't discovered the fake Twitter account as far as Eric could tell. He tried again to step past his manager into the hallway, but Mari didn't budge. Yeah, right, he said at last. Like I had time for a relationship. Maybe not a girlfriend then, but definitely a girl. Mari nudged him with an elbow between the ribs. It's fine, Eric. About time if you ask me. Just tell me who she is and I'll pass it along. It's no one. No one, huh? Mari scratched his chin, studying Eric's face. Eric stared back with wide, unblinking eyes, the picture of short, choir boy innocence. That's a little more serious, Mari said. Don't tell me you're in love. Eric rolled his eyes upward and planted them to the ceiling. He could feel his manager's gaze on him, and he couldn't suppress the guilty flush of color that rose above his shirt collar and worked its way up his cheeks. His neck. Cheeks, oh my gosh. You know you're the color of a pomegranate right now? Mari's voice shook with laughter, and Eric turned his face away, bracing himself for the coming onslaught. He knew how Mari operated. His manager would be peppering him for weeks with obnoxious jokes, but to Eric's surprise, Mari stopped chuckling after a moment. When Eric met his eyes again, he almost thought he saw a trace of sadness in his manager's expression. With a sigh, Mari stooped to pick up the mistletoe and tossed it in the trash. What happened to you, Eric? He said softly. You used to tell me everything. I used to be your guy. Mari just shook his head. Eric watched him spin around and head down the long corridor toward the stage. His manager's final words floated back to him from the far end of the hall. It's no one, huh? You're a crappy liar, kid. Always have been. Only this time I can't quite tell if you're lying to me or lying to yourself. Okay, this is an interesting chapter. Chapter 17 is called Bound and Gagged. Eric shuts his baby blue Ferrari around the hairpin turns of Mulholland Drive, revealing in the purr of the engine as he pushed down on the accelerator. It felt great to be behind the wheel again. He spent too many nights in the back of a limo lately, and he missed the feeling of control that came from driving. He bought himself a Ferrari 458 Spider a little over a year ago to celebrate his latest album reaching multi-platinum status, but so far, the odometer only registered a few thousand miles. Maybe he should bring his car along on the tour kicking off soon. Leave the tour bus to the roadies. Eric made a mental note to float the idea by Mari in the morning. Mari, Eric drummed his fingers on the steering wheel. He couldn't get that awkward conversation with his manager out of his head. Mari didn't know what he was talking about, obviously. All that nonsense about love. His manager had only leaped to that conclusion because he didn't have all the facts. He didn't know about the fake Twitter account or that the girl on the other end of the conversation was a fan. How could Eric Thorne be in love with a fan? A random fangirl who wouldn't even tell him her last name or where she lived. A girl whose picture he'd never even seen. Ridiculous, Eric muttered as he pulled his car into the long-gated driveway of his house in the Hollywood Hills. He rolled to a stop and popped the car door open, bracing against the chill of the night air. His hand reached automatically for the phone in his pocket as he made his way inside, but he stopped himself. Maybe he needed to give it a rest, spend one night without pouring out his every passing thought to Tessa. It would be the first night in months that he hadn't fallen asleep, reading her messages and imagining her voice whispering him goodnight. But he was perfectly capable of setting it aside, right? Eric kicked off his sneakers and sprawled on the couch. Maybe this was what he needed, he told himself. Some solitude. Put on some music and crack open a pint of cookie dough ice cream. No phone, no Twitter. Where was the stereo again? His eyes wandered restlessly about the oversized room, vaulted ceilings, hardwood floors, black leather furniture, white baby grand piano in the corner. Someone had arranged his collection of Grammys, AMAs, and MTV Moon Men on top. Home sweet home. All very tasteful and very unfamiliar. This place felt no more like home than any of the swanky hotel suites where he laid his head most nights. Between his tour schedule and his acting and modeling duties, he barely cobbled together 6 weeks a year in LA. He wasn't exaggerated when he told Mari that he didn't have time for a girlfriend. Not unless he found one that he could cart along wherever he went, a handy-dandy girl from the size of a cell phone who fit conveniently in the back pocket of his jeans. He couldn't help but wonder what Tessa thought of the Christmas song tonight. Had she caught the hatchet job he'd done on the second verse? He'd covered it at the time with these cocky grins straight into the camera, and Mari had slapped him on the back after for a job well done. But did Tessa see through it? Was she satisfied, or did she know that smile was fake? Who am I kidding? Eric said to himself as he reached again for his back pocket. He'd die of boredom if he spent the evening all alone, eating ice cream straight from the carton. Eric pulled out his phone and opened Twitter, but he saw in an instant that it was set to the wrong account. Eric Thorne at Eric Thorne, followers 14.8M. He rarely bothered to open his real account nowadays, but he'd been commanded from on high to tweet about the Christmas special. His eyes skimmed down to the message he sent out just before airtime. Eric Thorne at Eric Thorne. Wishing an early #Happy Holidays to my amazing fans. What do you want for Christmas? All I want for you to watch is for you to watch me live tonight at 8 p.m. 70.4K retweets, 257.2K likes. He hadn't crafted that particular gem himself. Some social media expert from the TV network had stood over Eric's shoulder and dictated the words. The replies had started pouring in the moment he hit tweet. Now Eric couldn't quite peel his eyes away fast enough to avoid reading the first few responses. Anna Thorne at Eric Addict 3, at Eric Thorne ILY, Eric Thorne Lover at Eric Love 982, at Eric Thorne Follow Me, MET, Miss Eric Thorne, at Eric Thorne, I'll give you anything you want for Christmas, baby. Eat Me, Eric, at Eric Thorne Porn, at Eric Thorne, I want you to hit the follow button with your rock hard. Oof! Eric choked. His thumb slammed down on the home button, clicking the app closed before his eyes could register another word. He really should have known better than to look at the replies. Nothing like a dose of holiday cheer from his amazing fans to ruin his mood. He was more than a little tempted to chuck his phone across the room just to obliterate that last one from his memory. It wouldn't have been the first time he cracked his screen that way. But he didn't throw his phone. He didn't need to resort to violence, not anymore. He merely slumped back against the couch cushions and pulled up Tessa's profile, felt his anger ebb the moment he read her reply. Tessa H at Tessa Hearts Eric, at Eric Thorne, all I want for Christmas is to see a smile on your face. Love you. Merry Christmas. Eric let out a long breath, realizing the tension from his shoulders. Releasing the tension from his shoulders, he knew her reply was genuine. That was what made it so sweet. He'd always assumed that the fans who tweeted shirtless pictures of him only viewed him as a piece of meat. But Tessa had proven him wrong. Honestly, she must be the only fan left who saw him as a human being. It was unbelievable the effect she had on him. She must have had some kind of supernatural power, the way she could slice through his mood with a few simple words. He knew she'd have him laughing again in no time if he DM'd her. With a few flicks of his thumb, he switched accounts and fired off a message. This phantom is so effed up. Tessa obliged him with an instantaneous response. Eric kicked up his feet on his living room couch and settled in for a chat. What happened? The fangirls. Can't they just wish him a Merry Christmas? It's disgusting, some of the shit they tweet at him. Well, I wish him a Merry Christmas. You're a sweetheart. The rest of them can rot. I know it goes too far sometimes. Did you see the picture MET tweeted after he messed up the Christmas Carol? Eric's brow furrowed. MET? He didn't recognize the acronym. Was that another TMZ? What's MET? A gossip blog? No, you dork. At Miss Eric Thorne. It's the most important account in the whole fandom. How are you so clueless? Perfect. Eric couldn't help but laugh. He'd been vaguely aware of that account, of course. He knew it had a lot of followers, but the most important person in the fandom? Really? Silly me, and here I thought the most important person in the fandom was that other douche rocket. What's his name again? Oh yeah, Eric Thorne. You know what I mean, the most important fan account. Got it. And does Eric's wife have an actual name? Everyone just calls her MET. She likes to maintain an air of mystery. Kind of creeps me out, to be honest. Go look at her recent tweets. Eric entered the handle and pulled up the tweet that Tessa meant. MET. Haha, way to go, Eric Thorne. Retweet if you think he should have performed the song like this. Hashtag Eric Thorne obsessed. MET had illustrated her point with the doctored photo, and he drew in a sharp breath when he saw what it depicted. Eric Thorne, shirtless, laid across the bed, bound and gagged with duct tape. A shudder passed through Eric's frame as he glanced at the retweet account. Hovering just north of 1K, how could there be 1,000 people out there who didn't find that image utterly repugnant? It was all fun and games until someone decided to act it out in real life. If anyone made an edit like that of Ariana Grande, they'd probably get arrested. But he was a guy, so that somehow made the sexploitation funny and retweetable. In the past, that picture would have sent him through the roof, but Eric felt surprisingly calm about it now. He merely rolled his eyes and tucked one arm behind his head as he slouched down farther on the couch. Ugh, he's a human being. How is that pic supposed to make him feel? I know, it's gross, but he's kind of asking for it in a way. Why? Because he messed up the song? That justifies sexual harassment? No, but he's the one who keeps flashing everybody, and why does he put his sex life into his song lyrics if he doesn't want to be objectified? One of Eric's eyebrows quirked up at that. His sex life? What was she talking about? He knew the tabloids like to pair him off with a different female celebrity every week, but Tessa knew better than to believe that crap. What sex life? Have you heard aloe vera? That sounds obviously about some girl he was sleeping with. Come on, Tessa, you're smarter than that. What, you think it was about a man? Eric hesitated. He never told another living soul the true meaning of aloe vera, not even Mari. The record label probably wouldn't have released the song if they'd known. It made his heart rate quicken to think about telling Tessa. Unnerving but strangely exhilarating at the same time. Not a man. Maybe the man. There's more than one way to get screwed. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now he got screwed by the man? Listen to the words. He said, baby, take your clothes off. Get rid of those tan lines. So, who told him to take his clothes off? Ariana Grande? All I know is he was just this shy kid with an acoustic, and then he got signed by a major label, and the next thing you know, he's prancing around half naked all the time. So you think his record label told him to take his clothes off? Think about it. I fell asleep to the sound of your voice whispering to me. Maybe he feels like they kind of seduced him with a bunch of sweet talk. But the rest of it, you left me there to blister, ran off with the only key. Right, they locked him in to his record deal. Eric held his breath, waiting for a reaction. Would she get it? He had a feeling it would probably blow her mind. It was her favorite song, after all. She knew the lyrics almost as well as he did. OMG, Taylor, are you kidding me right now? I know, right? It totally fits. Talk about projecting. How is this projecting? Because you feel trapped by your job. You're talking about you. Eric Thorne is not you. Get it through your head. Oof. Eric bowed his head in disappointment, projecting, Tessa's favorite word. She had the truth staring her in the face, but she didn't see it. She couldn't see it. He knew, because it was only a tiny sliver of the truth, not the real secret that would blow her mind. He shifted uncomfortably, unable to avoid the stab of guilt. Maybe he should tell her everything right then and there. How amazing would that feel? He had the perfect opening right now. He knew exactly how to do it. Eric switched back over to his real account at Eric Thorne and began to compose a new DM from there. Not projecting if you're actually talking about yourself, Tessa. Eric started the words in his message board, but he didn't quite have the nerve to hit send. Not yet. He wasn't ready. Who knew how she might react? He hastily deleted the message, sucking in a shaky breath. Still, he had to give her something. Something more than ridiculous theories from Taylor the snarky fanboy. Tessa had become one of the most important people in his life, and he didn't even follow her from his real account. He should have done it back when the hashtag Eric Thorne Obsessed thing was trending. For the life of him, he couldn't remember why he had it. If any fan deserved to follow from at Eric Thorne, it was at Tessa Hart's Eric. What would happen, he wondered, if he hit the follow button now? A cautious smile crept onto his face as he imagined her reaction. He couldn't resist. His thumb made swift contact with the button. No! You're totally going to give yourself away! Why would he just randomly, all of a sudden, just follow her? Oh my goodness gracious. You see all that? That's all your hair. Tessa lay on her stomach in front of the TV, bopping her feet in time to the music. She'd recorded tonight's Christmas special and she hit rewind to play Eric's performance of White Christmas. Whew, I don't know what that was. Once again, while she waited for Taylor's next reply. It was strange, she thought, the way Eric had forgotten the words tonight. It wasn't like him. Hadn't he rehearsed beforehand? Something must have happened to distract him. She studied the familiar face on the TV screen for clues. He started out the song slow and serious, with those hypnotic ice blue eyes staring straight into the camera, but then he faltered at the bridge and he butchered the second verse. Dum 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 of a white Christmas, the Christmas snowflakes all look white. Tessa couldn't help but giggle as his expression gave way to a self-deprecating smile. What was going through his head, she wondered. Had he panicked on the inside, or was that crooked grin of his for real? She longed to ask Taylor for his take on the whole thing. He usually had a pet theory for everything Eric Thorne did. Pure fiction, of course, but Tessa couldn't deny that she found his ideas entertaining. Just look at the story he concocted about aloe vera. Tessa chuckled again at the thought. As if that song could be about anything other than a hot and heavy one-night stand. Where was Taylor anyway? He'd gone silent for the past 5 minutes. She had paused on the TV and returned her full attention to her phone. She felt the urge to message him again, but she resisted. Her thoughts revolved around Taylor more and more these days. Even in her sessions with Dr. Reagan, Tessa couldn't seem to keep him out of her head. She and Taylor chatted every night, and their conversations lately had begun to cross the line from friendship to outright flirtation. She knew her feelings for him had deepened, and she found it vaguely unsettling. As much as she liked Taylor, and as much as she got the feeling that he might like her back, Tessa couldn't shake the lingering sense that he was holding something back, some secret he didn't quite have the nerve to tell her. Tessa twisted a strand of hair around her finger as she contemplated her phone. Maybe she should cut the conversation short tonight, wish him good night, and go to sleep. She was just about to input the message when a notification flashed onto her screen. Not a new message from Taylor. Her eyes landed on a different username instead. Eric Thorne at Eric Thorne followed you. Her finger went slack. The lock of hair fell limply against her shoulder. A whole lifetime seemed to pass before she could comprehend the words. Eric Thorne followed. Oh my God, she whispered. Oh my God. We're going to go one more chapter, and we'll stop at chapter 19. No, we'll stop at interrogation fragment 6. No, we'll stop at chapter 19, sorry. Okay, so chapter 18, change of key. Eric paced his living room, eyes glued to his screen as he refreshed his Twitter feed again. Come on, Tessa. Hadn't she seen the notification yet? What was taking her so long? Come on, you must have seen it. As if in answer to his words, a new message popped up at the top of her recent tweets. Tessa H at Tessa Hart's Eric. OMG like a bajillion times. A broad smile crossed his face. There we go. The standard fangirl response, only a slight step up from when they tweeted random strings of capital letters. He could just imagine the way she must have been bouncing around her room right then, screaming her head off. Something about that mental image made Eric pull up short. A new thought had entered his head. Would she DM him something now? The fans usually did after he followed them. Selfies more often than not. After all these months, would he finally catch a glimpse of Tessa's face? He sank down heavily on the piano stool in front of the white baby grin, and his fingers picked out a minor chord progression as he waited. He eyed his message tab impatiently, watching for a new DM, but he gave up after a moment. To hell with it. He couldn't take the suspense. He needed to hear more from her than OMG. Switched accounts back to Eric Thornsucks and fired off a new message from there. Tessa, are you there? What happened? Eric tapped his single note in a rapid staccato as he waited for her reply. Eric followed me. Whoa. OMG, 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 OMG. Are you freaking out? OMG, my hands are shaking so bad. Deep breaths. Don't hyperventilate on me now. I can't stop smiling. OMG, why did he follow me? It doesn't even make any sense. Well, you did wish him a Merry Christmas. OMG, he must have seen it. He saw my tweet. Eric Thorne saw my tweet. Eric laughed out loud. His left hand remained on the piano keys, and he picked out a simple melody, switching to a major key. He couldn't remember the last time he'd felt this way, so happy he couldn't wipe away the goofy grin. Happy because he made her happy. Oh, Tessa, he said, chuckling at the phone. Tessa, I love you. Music stopped abruptly as his words hung in the air. Just a figure of speech, of course. He didn't really mean that. Obviously not. Eric blinked away the thought. He swiveled on the piano stool and brought the DM conversation back around to the topic he had in mind. So, did you send him a selfie? Stop. Don't even say it. He probably wants to see a reaction shot. Hello? I don't like strangers looking at me. That's one of my triggers. No strangers, just Eric. No one else would ever see. No way. Trust me, Tessa. He's a guy. He'll like it. How would you know? You have no idea what I even look like. Eric bit his lip. Not for long, he murmured. The corners of his mouth quivered with anticipation. He could sense her resolve starting to crumble. She just needed one more little push. Maybe not exactly, but I know you're beautiful. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Maybe you don't know that. I don't know I'm beautiful? Maybe. Okay, Taylor, and let me guess. That's what makes me beautiful? Eric paused. He smacked himself lightly on the forehead when he realized what he'd done. Shit, I just plagiarized the song, didn't I? Don't tell me you're a One Direction fanboy now. Hey, that was a brilliant song. Teenage girls love to hear how they're all secretly beautiful. Eric's mouth twisted, his giddy smile transforming into a smirk. He knew why his mind had gone to that song, of course. He'd been listening to it the other day. He had a new single in the works along the same lines, Snowflakes. It was slated for a release in time for the holidays, a surprise Christmas gift to all his lovely fans. I watched the snowflakes falling, too many for me to see, but I know each one is beautiful, special, and unique. Okay. Eric turned back to the piano and played the chorus. He had a hunch that it would be a hit. Maybe not a smash of the same magnitude as What Makes You Beautiful, but somewhere in the ballpark. The 13 to 18 demo would go wild for it, assuming they understood the metaphor. The snowflakes were the fans, and assuming he could convince his record label not to mess around too much with the lyrics. Apparently, they were threatening to bring in an outside songwriter. Mari had broken the news to him this evening after the show. Don't take it personally, kid. They just think some of the lyrics come across a little insincere. Eric frowned, remembering insincere. What did the label expect? If he ever wrote a song about how he really saw his fans, they'd ban it in every country for explicit language. So go rewrite it yourself, Mari had said to him. Maybe write a song about your mystery girl on the other end of all the text messages. Mari, I told you. Write them a love song about something real, Eric. That's all they're asking. Eric had been livid at the time, but maybe it wasn't the worst advice after all. The faintest spark of an idea had just popped into his head. He called the song Snowflakes, but maybe that was the problem. Maybe it should be Snowflake. Singular. Not a song about all his fans, just one. A song about feeling cold and alone and finding that one perfect snowflake in the middle of a raging blizzard. A love song? Was it possible? Eric shook his head uncertain. How could it be love? Real love? And more importantly, if it was real love, then what on earth was he going to do about it? He knew Tessa was still waiting for his answer on the other end of the line. Taylor, do you know how many selfies Eric Thorne must get? He wouldn't even notice it. Eric's shoulders slumped. For now, he changed his tune. Maybe he didn't want to see her picture after all. Not yet. He suddenly realized where that might lead, and the thought of it made him tremble. If he fell for Tessa, he knew he couldn't hide behind a fake profile any longer. Not if he wanted it to go anywhere. He would have to tell her the truth, and that meant showing her his own face in return. Nah, you're right. Too many fans, too many faces for him to see just one. He probably didn't even follow me himself. I bet some publicist was using his account just now and her fingers slipped. But Eric knew the truth. He'd already noticed her in the crowd. Now he couldn't look away. He hadn't even meant to talk to her tonight, and yet somehow there he was. He stood up from the piano and padded toward the bedroom, typing another message as he went. You're right. Probably wasn't even him, because if Eric ever noticed your existence, Tessa, I think he'd be the one DMing you. Alright. Last part. And then we have to shut it off because I have to get ready for work. The interrogation, fragment 6, December 31st, 2016, 9:17 p.m., case number 124-678-21. 124.678.21-001. Official transcript of police interrogation. Start page 6. Part. You have to understand, I never thought it would turn into something real, something face-to-face. The two of us talked on Twitter, and I figured that was the start and end of it. Did you suspect at any time that Eric Thorne's sex might be someone other than he purported to be? Of course, I'm not completely naive. I had some concerns. There were a lot of details that seemed sketchy. So your suspicions were of a general nature? Yeah, just general paranoia. I don't know. I thought it would be like it always is on Catfish. On the television program, you mean? Right, like it would turn out Taylor was actually a married mother of 8 in the witness protection program, something random like that. Dr. Reagan kept encouraging me to move the relationship over to the phone. She wanted me to keep pushing myself for therapy. I was too scared, though. Twitter's so nice and anonymous, it felt safer that way. Did @Eric Lawrence Sucks ever suggest communicating more directly? No, but I was pretty open about my phobias. Okay, Tessa, can you walk us through how this plan for the two of you to meet in person first came about? I can't believe I fell for it. Tessa, do you recall which one of you first suggested meeting in person? He did. It was all because of the contest. Contest? It was his idea for me to enter. I never thought in a million years that I would win. When did this exchange take place? Can you show me on your Twitter account? Not too long ago. It might have been Christmas Eve. Here it is. Yes, I see. Let the record show that Miss Hart is indicating a message exchange that took place on December 24th. Tessa, was there a message from the other account directly requesting a meeting? No, I mean not directly. It was more like, here, this, and this one. See? I see. That's very helpful. For the record, Miss Hart is indicating a direct message sent from the Twitter account @Eric Thornsucks. The timestamp is December 24, 2016 at 2:12 p.m. The message states, and I quote, I don't know, Tessa. Maybe you just need the proper motivation. Wouldn't you leave your house if Eric Thorne came to your town to play? Oof. Okay, so unfortunately we got to stop there because my alarm's about to go off, but we are stopping at chapter 19, which is page 209, and 9 is my lucky number, but we are almost done, you guys. We got this much accomplished, and we have this much to go, so I'm really excited. This book is getting a lot better. I'm very, 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 very curious what's going to happen next. So, with that being said, stay tuned. I will get the next portion of that read probably tonight after I get off of work at like 10 my time. So, I'm on Mountain Time, not Pacific or Pacific time, but I'm on Mountain Time, so I get off at 10 and I'll be home by like 11. I need to get a shower and things like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here because I have like 35 minutes to get ready for work, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. No reading ahead. Bye, guys. Hope you enjoyed.